Hello, everyone. My name is Ted Hulsy. I'm Vice President of Marketing at eFolder and your host for today's event. Welcome to our eFolder Expert Series. This webinar series brings together experts from eFolder staff and greater partner community for deep dive discussions on key service and technical topics. Today's topic is ConnectWise and eFolder Better Together. Today we are joined by Callen Sapien, Solution Strategist at ConnectWise. Welcome, Callen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, let's go over a few housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded. The recorded version of the webinar will be made available on eFolder's YouTube channel. We will also make copies of the slides available to those who registered for the event. With over 150 people registered for today's session, we have put all participants in listen-only mode. You can enjoy the audio portion of today's event either by streaming it on your computer or by dialing in over the phone. Today's webinar follows a logical flow. After introducing our expert, we will go over why every MSP needs a PSA or professional services automation tool and explain what to look for when choosing a PSA solution. We'll then go over the importance of integrating your managed services with your PSA solution and then introduce ConnectWise and eFolder together. Finally, we will cover how to integrate ConnectWise with eFolder solutions, focusing primarily on Anchor, eFolder's file sync and share solution. Questions are strongly encouraged throughout today's discussion. We have planned a special Q&A section toward the end of today's session, but you may submit them as we go along, and we'll try to address your questions on the fly. Now let me introduce our guest, Callen Sapien. Callen Sapien is a solution strategist for ConnectWise and has worked for ConnectWise for nearly 3 years. Callen constantly works to maintain and foster executive relationships and market share with ConnectWise's backup and disaster recovery technology partners. In this role, Callen helps define the direction and strategy of ConnectWise and LabTech's backup solutions and partner relationships. Callen graduated in 2013 from the SBC College of Business Sustainability Management program at the top of his class. Callen, thanks for joining us and welcome.
No, thank you very much for the very warm introduction. I appreciate it and happy to be here.
Okay, let me just make sure you still got keyboard and mouse control. You do. So go ahead, Callen, and take it away.
Sounds great. So again, thank you everybody for having us. And look forward to hopefully imparting some good information. So as Ted mentioned, I am Callen Sapien. I've worked for ConnectWise for a few years. I've had a couple different roles here, but in the last 6 or 8 months, I've spent time working with our backup and business availability partners. Before that, I actually spent 2 years working exclusively on the ConnectWise side. So very familiar with the PSA as a business solution and really with its importance. What we've seen with a lot of our partners is just chaos, side to size, before anybody came on board, whether they've had a PSA, whether it wasn't put in place correctly the first time. You know, as we're all running businesses, it's difficult to actually deploy something easily. So ConnectWise actually started in 1932 as a IT solutions provider. And we ran along for 15 years looking at these disparate systems, as you can see on the screen. We realized in the mid-90s that it wasn't working for us. We were slipping time, we were missing SLAs, our customers were suffering, our bottom line was suffering, and we were missing football games, cheerleading events, everything you could imagine with a family. So what we did is we created ConnectWise, and ConnectWise took that chaos and brought it to control. In the meantime, we've actually looked at more of a platform approach. So we brought in seamless integration across all of the solutions. So whether that's CRM, help desk, billing and tracking for time and labor, workflow automation on the back end, the idea is that this is more than software. It's what's running your business, and it's giving you that seamless look across all avenues. So what we want to do is make sure that we're integrated not just with the core products that you use on a day-to-day basis, but the solutions you need like Anchor from eFolder. We've seen a major jump in the need from enterprise file sync and share space. So we're really excited to be building that integration with you guys and imparting our wisdom on that. One of the things I hear all the time is, I don't necessarily love my system. It's something where people go in and they add time because they have to, or they don't add time at all because they make it difficult. What you should be looking for, though, is everything in one. When you're going through and you're going from sales or quoting all the way down, you want to make sure that everything is flowing seamlessly through. And because of that, we want to make sure that you love it. So first of all, we want to make sure that it's templatized, or make sure that it's the same system every time. So when you're billing for something, it's pulled through and it's automatically added to your agreements. Then we want to gain greater visibility into the solution itself.
Hey, Callen.
Yeah.
Hey, Callen, are we having trouble advancing slides? I'm just.
I think it was. I think it just did.
Okay. Just let me know if you need me to advance. Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
And actually, on the next one, I might need you to, because I'm going to jump from this screen here in just a second. So what we want to make sure is you're gaining greater visibility into how much time your techs are spending on their current activities, and make sure that they're actually utilizing all the time very well. We call it kind of painting tomorrow green. We're able to dispatch that out and make sure that utilization is at a maximum. You always want to have all of your alerts, whether they're coming in from an RMM tool, whether they're coming in from a backup provider or an AV provider, to go to one common place and then be pointed to the correct party so that nobody's wasting time. And you want to make sure to scale as well, right? We started out as a 2-person operation, and now we've grown to over 900. And in that time, we've used the same platform the whole way. ConnectWise has obviously adapted and grown with us because we control that, but we've seen that time and time again with a lot of our partners. When you get out into the community, you see people that started out with 5-person companies, and now they're 50, 60, 75-person organizations. If this doesn't advance here, I would, so that's kind of the background to who ConnectWise is, where they came from, and why you need to love it. But ConnectWise itself as a solution is actually one company now. LabTech is our RMM tool as a software. We have a quoting tool called Quozal, which allows for quick quoting and proposal. We have the amazing Screen Connect, which we acquired last year. It is one of the fastest remote control tools in existence. And then we obviously have the ConnectWise PSA. All of these, our goal is to make seamless. So if you're using all the products, we want to make it so that you don't realize when you leave one tool and go to the next. So with that in mind, I can advance here to talk to that end-to-end solution. So our PSA side is really built on best practices. So we have went and worked with many people on building those across the entire business. These are seen as workflows and different processes. And really, this has to be more than software. When you partner with ConnectWise, you get additional resources and expertise. We'll discuss these a little later, but definitely want to talk on those. We also help you run your business by providing you the systems and methodologies that you need for your system, for your business to be successful. So let me quickly jump into a life cycle here. This is a simplified form of what anybody's business would look like. Obviously not comprehensive, but it at least gives you kind of the idea of what a PSA should cover. So let's look at how these work together with our marketing tools and our RMMs. When you have an RMM, what you're going to do is have opportunities generated by it. You'll take those opportunities and turn them into a quote. That quote flows seamlessly across to the opportunity, to the sales order, all the way through to the procurement, ticketing, and invoicing stages. The idea is that as we go down this path, it's going to be much quicker to go from the opportunity to the quote to getting paid. We like to call this kind of quote to cash for our partners. And the beautiful thing about this is they're all under one roof. So it's a shared roadmap, a single vendor and one throat to choke, and then a nice integration seamlessly across that. we also realize that, well, now that we've interconnected all of our core solutions that we're using, we need strategic alliances. And one of those great strategic alliances we have right now is eFolder and its product Anchor. So we have AV products, network products, desktop management that we've all plugged into the ConnectWise platform. And with that, we've allowed for things like business availability and enterprise file sync and share to be at the forefront of those integrations. We have a wonderful program called Invent that allows anyone that would like to integrate. And then we have top tier Invent partners like eFolder that have taken the most out of that API and built out seamless integrations across both partnerships. What this has led to is us being able to solve for tomorrow. We know a lot of the trends that are coming in the industry, like Office 365 and the solutions there with our Cloud Console side. We have the domain expertise because we've been at this for over 30 years, and we provide as much in the way of thought leadership, like excellent individuals like Ted on the line who bring the industry forward, and we all use this as a passion for your success. So how do we take these and translate those into your success, though? Well, as I mentioned, it starts with our industry-leading best practices. We've worked with thousands of partners and thousands of vendor partners to identify the needs of our customer base. We've taken those and wrapped them into industry-leading core software platform products. We have 24/7, 365 support that also covers any third-party vendor products that we have available to us, and they're available by phone, chat, or email. We have world-leading education certifications, a university that's second to none that includes blueprints for you to build out new business units, as well as templates for success. It's as simple as right-clicking, installing, and running along a new business in order to start up something like Microsoft CSP program. We have amazing consultants that have come from the industry. They help you from implementation to business audits, as we all should be doing every couple of years, to custom reporting and custom implementation jobs that we need to do later on. If someone looks at one of the new products that we've offered, like Chat Assist, we can actually work with them side by side to make sure that it's deployed and branded in the correct way. And this has led to us having a community that's really absolutely game-changing. We turn competitors into peers. We're active in HTG. In fact, HTG partners are all using ConnectWise. We have trade shows, and we have 30 user groups per year that span the globe. Workshops and IT Nation, the largest gathering of MSPs and their vendor partners. Automation Nation, which is our focus on technology and RMM. And then Quotation Nation, which focuses on the sales and quoting side directly before IT Nation. And what this leads to is the success of our partners. Our passion is your success, and it's our focus. We want to make sure that you're successful, and we're accelerating your path to there by any means possible. And that's what leads us to say it's not just about the software. So we really appreciate you guys taking the time with us today. And if you have any questions about the software, please chime in, send Ted a message, and I'd be happy to answer it.
Okay, Callen, excellent. So just, I mean, in terms of reviewing, in thinking about today's audience and who's all gathered, Callen and I were chatting about this. Some of the folks who are on the line, you may be using ConnectWise already. You may have a PSA tool already. You may not. And so it's a little challenging for us to, of course, address all those audiences at once. But for those of you who maybe, haven't yet adopted a PSA tool or are looking at your alternatives, I think that was a really good introduction to, how a PSA tool solves those complexity challenges that MSPs face today, and how ConnectWise really uniquely approaches that challenge. with not just software, but a combination of other business benefits that they bring to the MSP community. And I will say that really, eFolder as a company, we are integrated with several different PSA tools, but really ConnectWise stands head and shoulders above other companies in the space by really addressing, the whole solution, if you will. Meaning that it's not just that our two software tools talk to each other and that eFolder services talk to ConnectWise and back and forth. ConnectWise, as Callen mentioned, has their Invent program. And it's a program where vendors we can jointly validate that the solutions work. We can jointly validate that the user documentation on how the integration works is well documented, that all the facts are clear, that we've got partner references and testimonials from people who have actually implemented the integration. So I would recommend that everybody who's on the line, if you haven't yet checked out the ConnectWise marketplace, to go there. What you'll find is not only details on how eFolder integrates with ConnectWise, but how ConnectWise works with a host of different solutions. But to kind of transition us a little bit, some of you on the line may be familiar with eFolder or not, but we are a supplier of backup, business continuity, and business-grade file sync solutions for managed service providers. Our main products are Anchor, which is our file sync and share product, our eFolder Backup, which is a file and folder level backup solution. We have various flavors of BDR services that leverage different third-party software tools that integrate with our cloud environment for end-to-end business continuity, and Cloud Finder, which is our cloud-to-cloud backup solution. Virtually all of these solutions integrate with ConnectWise. We're working on Cloud Finder. That's to come, and we've got a couple gaps on the BDR product line, but we're working on that as well. But this is an area that we take very seriously, because at the end of the day, everything eFolder does is MSP focused, and we know that all the best run MSPs are running a PSA tool, and some of the best MSPs in the world run ConnectWise. And so we know we need to be deeply integrated here, that this is where you guys control your labor costs, wring all that complexity out of the equation, and really drive better operational performance and profitability. In today's discussion, we're going to focus a little bit more on Anchor. If you're not familiar with eFolder's Anchor solution, it is a file sync and share and collaboration platform. And really what it allows your clients to do is to really work with business content across any device, with any sort of third party, with any sort of content, without giving up security and control. We work in a world today where people compute across multiple different computers, across a Windows device and a Mac device in the same day, home office, mobile, on the road, on your tablet, on your phone, and you need your work content at your fingertips wherever you go. But you can't use kind of, consumer-grade file sync solutions in the workplace to do this sort of thing. Technically, it could work to get files from point A to point B, but a business that's using consumer-grade Dropbox, as an example, with their work content is a looming security risk, a data privacy and data leakage risk. And so eFolder's Anchor solution is the answer for MSPs who want to go in there and help your clients control how content is used, improve employee productivity, but really do it in a secure and controlled fashion. If you're not familiar with how Anchor works today, basically you install it. You can either run it as a private cloud instance in your own colo or data center, or you can use our SaaS version of the product. But basically, you install the Anchor software on all sorts of endpoints: computers, Macs, Windows machines, tablets and laptops and smartphones of all kinds. And then all of that content is seamlessly synced to the cloud and back and forth from all of those devices. And that allows employees to be agile across all of the different devices they use to compute and communicate with. And it allows them to, share content in agile sort of ways. I mean, a lot of the common challenges that users want to solve is sending large files, sending video files, sending large PowerPoints with videos embedded, A lot of vertical applications where people deal with massive file types, like in medical or architecture and construction, where there's massive file types. These files cannot be shared via email. You need a file sharing solution to do it. There's many, many, many different use cases, and then there's a lot of different use cases where businesses need to share securely content with third parties. And then all the thing gets synced to the cloud, and as an MSP, the key thing you want in this sort of scenario, the thing that gives you the ability to do security and control, is a multi-tenant management console and a solution that is designed for MSPs. So that's what Anchor does. And then as you grow your deployment as an eFolder partner with Anchor, of course the solution natively solves a ton of management problems. The fact that it's built from the ground up as a multi-tenant solution means you're able to go in there and in a fine-grained sort of way control the security permissions and configurations for different organizations and clients. You're able to group clients into different policy groups. You're able to cascade permissions and configurations across groups. So that's all a thing of beauty. However, you've got your PSA system, and you want these things, you want these solutions talking to each other so that, as Callen noted earlier, you know, alerts and tickets all show up in the right place for the right sort of interaction and dispatching by your staff. And so from the very earliest days of Anchor, we had a deep integration with ConnectWise. We support both ticketing and billing integration with Anchor. But some of the things you, of course, can do is all alerts from inside of Anchor can be pushed into ConnectWise as tickets. You can go in and set up, you know, basically rate plans or billing structures in Anchor that seamlessly get pulled into ConnectWise. You know, storage utilization, number of users, accounts, all these things are configurable so that you also have billing integration with ConnectWise. So the steps to do it is pretty simple. It's really a 5-step process to integrate Anchor with ConnectWise. And what I want to do is share with you just a little how-to video. It's about 2 minutes in length, and I'm just going to go ahead and play that, and then we can turn our attention to some concluding remarks, and then, of course, your questions. So let's, I'm going to go ahead and play this, and, oops, that's not what was supposed to happen. Here we go.
In this video, we are going to be reviewing how to connect your PSA system to ConnectWise. Before proceeding through the steps outlined in this video, you will need to have the ConnectWise client downloaded and installed with the appropriate credentials to log in. To begin, we will need to set up an integrator in ConnectWise. Please log into your ConnectWise client. Once logged in, proceed to the Setup tab and click on Setup Tables. You will need to set up an account in the integrator table. Since there are many tables in ConnectWise, simply type integrator in the table field and hit the search button. Integrator login should now appear. Selecting this will bring up the integrator login list. Click on the new icon at the top to create a new entry. Create a username and password to use with your system. We'll use integrator as both. Change the access level to all records. Select the checkbox for Service Ticket API. Choose the service port that has already been configured properly in your ConnectWise system. Note, newer versions of ConnectWise will require a value for the field callback URL. You can simply use not used here. And finally, select the checkbox for Company API and hit Save. Now, we can connect our PSA system to ConnectWise. In your system, navigate to the Settings tab of all organizations. Then select the PSA tab. Choose Configure a new PSA system. Once you select ConnectWise as your PSA system, fill in the additional fields with values that you had just set up. If successful, you should get a confirmation dialog. In addition, a field populated with your ConnectWise companies should now appear. Please select one. We'll go with your company for now, and hit save. We should test to see if tickets are successfully generated. Navigate to the Activity tab and select Create Alert. Choose a test action in the When field. We'll stick with Added Account for now. And in the Via section, select PSA System. Click on Send Test Message. A ticket should now be populated in your ConnectWise system. You can see this in ConnectWise in your Service Desk tab in the Service Board option. And there is our test message. Note, you may receive an error in your system advising you to check your PSA settings. You should first verify that you are able to manually create a ticket in ConnectWise using the same Service Board configuration. Chances are ConnectWise requires more information than what is originally set up. You have now successfully configured your system's PSA to use ConnectWise.
Okay, so deceptively simple, obviously, right? You know, as these things always are in a kind of a canned demo. But, you know, truth be told, you know, as you noticed, the configuration steps are not massive. I think the tricky part is really defining, you know, when you deploy, say, file sync and share to your clientele, what are the things you want to monitor? What are the things you want to be alerted on? You know, you may want to make sure you don't have an information overkill or kind of false positives of things that need to be actioned on. So that's probably the trickier part, but the configuration steps themselves are not that extensive. But there's a lot of rich choices that put tools in your hands to define how you want to manage these services. I do want to provide just kind of a sneak peek here a little bit. eFolder and the ConnectWise organization are working on some deeper integrations between Anchor and LabTech. So for those of you who may be looking at LabTech or using LabTech, this integration with Anchor will, you know, I mean, I think some of the kind of deployment and configuration are kind of some of the key areas where that's going to help you instead of using kind of a command line interface for deployment scenarios. You'll be able to use LabTech. So again, labor saving, making it easier on your techs. It's a continual theme, and there's additional innovation coming down the pike. With that, I want to turn our attention to the Q&A log, and let me dive in there. So let's see here. So just for the folks who want a link to that video, what I would do is just Google Anchor and ConnectWise knowledge base article, and you should find the knowledge base article. So that's that video, and the step-by-step items that we discussed in today's webinar are on the knowledge base article, both. So let's see here. So I think Giovanni just is asking about Anchor and branding. So I didn't mention this, but one of the cool things about Anchor and kind of eFolder's business philosophy in general is we empower our partners to put their own brand name and identity on the solutions they deploy, Anchor included. And so, you know, virtually every partner that's using the service today, and there's over 1,200 MSPs who are doing so, they put their own brand name on it. They pick their own unique product name for it. It's usually aligned with the rest of their managed services suite of naming conventions, and they can put their name on the portal, on the splash screen that gets displayed when the mobile agent is accessing the file system, and so on. So that's a key part of the business strategy. It's all about, you know, empowering you guys to build your own brand with your clientele and to leverage eFolder's Anchor, backup, and BDR services in the background. So Giovanni asks, you know, when integrating, does this have to be set up for all Anchor clients we have? You know, I think the instance, I think we have, I think the answer is no, it doesn't have to be. However, I would really want to understand the different scenarios where you wouldn't want to leverage this integration for all clients. I don't really know what those would be, but what is important to note is that eFolder, we do have a fair number of partners that leverage both our private cloud installation of the product and the public cloud version. So the scenario there is you may have large, sophisticated end users who you work with who want to run their own file and sync and share installation behind their own firewall, and you can license the cloud or the private cloud version of our product and install it at those individual clients, while at the same time running, say, the SaaS version of the product for the rest of your SMB clientele. So that would be a scenario where you would actually have multiple different instances of Anchor, and therefore you could make a case-by-case decision on whether you wanted each one of those instances of Anchor to be integrated with ConnectWise. So I hope, Giovanni, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, Mark, we answered the question again. Consult the knowledge base. Just want to encourage everybody, are there additional questions?
Ted, if there aren't any as well, I would love to, kind of expand on the billing side, because that's one of the areas where I've consulted a lot on my partners' kind of, loss of time. It's an area that doesn't get looked at often enough. That ability to automate that process is just huge, because you're paying someone a few dollars, a few $15, $20 an hour to do that. It's just cutting into your margins. And when you're looking at something that may only be a few dollars per user per month on a margin, that's just putting money back in your pocket. So I think that is one area that the billing automation just absolutely excites me every time I see that.
Right, and I guess, and another thing to add, I would say, is, Anchor does have a fairly modular feature set, and there's some advanced functionality like our file server enablement function, which you may or may not be deploying to particular accounts. And again, that's an opportunity to leverage the billing integration where you would, you would trigger a kind of premium service, billing event, if you will, if they're using file server enablement versus not. And then, a lot of partners get very creative with the storage. eFolder on the SaaS version of the product, we bundle 100 gigabytes per user per month of cloud storage, but that gets pooled at the partner level, and really you as the MSP control the actual storage quotas and the allocation. So again, if you've decided to get creative in that area, that's an opportunity to, again, leverage the billing integration.
Yeah, especially for those heavy and power users, because, people, when they hear exactly how much they're going to have, they're going to take advantage of it every time.
Right. So a couple other questions. So Rob wants to know, how does he get a copy of today's presentation? We will email out a Windows. Are we still sending Windows media file or MP4? What are we doing? MP4. We're sending out an MP4. We will email out a MP4 version of today's session, and we always post a copy to the eFolder YouTube channel. So if you missed the beginning or you want to get this on replay for a colleague, that's how you can access the content on demand. John, Callen, this is a question for you. Can you elaborate a little bit on ConnectWise and QuickBooks integration? Does that exist, or how does ConnectWise integrate with other accounting packages?
Yeah, so we actually have, we integrate with most of the top solutions out there, QuickBooks and Sage and a few of the others as well. Out of the box, the on-premise solution is actually one of the best integrations that we've seen. We had a company originally write it, and then we took it over, so it's an in-house integration. It's actually fairly similar to setting up the Anchor product, so it's kind of a documented approach, but very easy to set up. And once you have everything mapped over, what's cool about it is it has two-way billing. So I can send over any of my invoices to QuickBooks to be reconciled. It will actually sync back that when those invoices are marked paid in QuickBooks, so I don't have to turn around and track that in ConnectWise as well. And if someone is maybe a slow payer of the product, you can actually have alerts set up to let you know that you should not go out there and add additional product or drop off a $2,500 server or a NAS device out on site without collecting some sort of payment. We do definitely integrate with QuickBooks Online as well. And I mean, that's just the way kind of everything's going, right? I mean, QuickBooks has decided that that's their big push. So we've got some pretty robust integrations there, both directly through ConnectWise as a third-party product or as through one of our marketplace vendors. We have some people that have went out and built basically QuickBooks into ConnectWise with as deep as that integration is. So a lot of options there for you.
Yeah, and just a kudos shout out, Giovanni from the Q&A log says integration with ConnectWise and QuickBooks works great.
Hey,
kind of a follow-up question from John. Is there integration with merchant services?
So we do have, not natively. So we do have several partners of the third party that have taken advantage of the Invent program and built out some of those integrations. Yellow Bus comes to mind, as does Connect Booster. Connect Booster is much more than just an integration into a merchant services or payment processing, but it actually brings a lot of value to that. And we've explored internally as well some payment processing, but I would look to direct to the marketplace. When you jump on to that, we also have MYOB integration through WiseSync, and they do merchant services. The WiseSync integration is just incredible. I would definitely recommend checking that out.
Okay, we're having a little technical problem with the Q&A log, but we're just what I want to do is I just wanted to get back to this particular slide. Okay, here we go. This slide here. Just while we're talking, I wanted that slide up there. Okay, so I think we handled the merchant services integration question. Other questions? Okay, so just to kind of summarize things, I want to highlight that the step-by-step instructions of how to integrate Anchor with ConnectWise can be found on the eFolder knowledge base. I also want to point everybody to the ConnectWise marketplace, where you will find partner testimonials, the ConnectWise certification that the eFolder integrations work as advertised, and all of the supporting documentation right there on the ConnectWise marketplace. All of that's available along with partner testimonials from people who have used it. So real life partners who are on record saying, this works for me. So those are two great resources. Again, today's session will be on demand and recorded if you want to share this with a colleague. Integrations, I'll just say, it's one of those things a lot of people procrastinate around. I'm looking at you. We're all looking at each other, really, with this topic. The reality is that these things require time and planning and a little extra effort to get them implemented, but the labor saving opportunity is massive, and the ability to better serve your clients with the various software and service deployments you make. I mean, look at this slide. How many of these vendors and these products are you doing business with today? And are you leveraging the integrations that are out there with your PSA tool? Too often we come across the conversation, the answer is not yet. I'm about to get there. What I would encourage everyone to do is invest the time and effort, assign this to somebody on your staff to make this a priority, and really get these integrations in gear. The hard part is often the workflows and the standard operating procedures in your own business that you need to refine and clarify. you know, just having two pieces of software talk to each other is usually not enough. It's really establishing the workflows and how your people are interacting with these tools, which is the harder part. So I just would encourage you to get busy in that area. Callen, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your insights.
Yeah, definitely. And to the ConnectWise partners that are out there, we do have that set of blueprints to piggyback on your comment there, Ted, that will help you to find those flows right in the university. So take advantage of that. He is 100% right. So thank you very much for having me.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and thanks to everybody, eFolder partners, ConnectWise partners, people checking us out, looking at us, and evaluating this as an opportunity. Thank you for joining and spending some time with us. With that, today's session is concluded. This is Ted Hulsy with eFolder, and this was an eFolder Expert Series webinar. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.